Oh dear, dear, dear. Hello everybody. Okay, wow, that was a bit of a rush job. I don't know, what am I seeing? Am I seeing this on here? We got adverts, so I got the wrong screen on there. All right, so it's a little bit rushed today. I do apologise for that. We can't skip the ads, can you, on this one now? Yeah, I've got all different screens up at the moment, so I got another. This is my separate screen. Yeah, hello everybody. Bear with a second.
I'm not in control of that.
You're not. Well, you are. If you drag your mouse to the right off the edge of the screen. Off the edge, and you should appear on mine. Has it? Well, stop. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Other way. Stop. Down. Right. Whoa, click. Yes. Skip the ads. Thank you. You got dual monitors, dual screens. You can go back to your heels.
I can't see what. Oh, right.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you all very much for coming on today. If you can hear me, and Louise. If you actually put us on, the slide's not on.
Yeah.
No. See, I'm talking to nobody. I'm just talking behind that screen that says 12 hour.
I can still hear your dulcet tones.
My dulcet tones. Yeah, I'm on. Am I? Yes. Right. Okay. Am I on now?
There.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you don't see. Yes, it was Louise. She hadn't dragged.
Everything's always my fault.
It's no. Right. Okay. And we've got. Oh, what a rush job. So.
Haribo, and calm down.
Thank you. Okay. So, thank you all for coming on today. Can you all hear me? I hope you can. Can you all hear Louise?
Hello.
Hang on, there's your camera. There's the Lou cam, the Louise cam. Shouldn't really call it the Lou cam, really, 'cause that sounds a bit
wrong.
That definitely sounds a bit wrong. It's been a little bit on the busy side. I've got the monitor I normally have in front of me, but we did a Facebook Live to do with the shop, and we had dual monitors going on. So the screen I got here, Louise is in control of, but she can't see it. So I normally have whatever's on her screen on my screen, and doesn't matter. Good, I'm glad. So, what sort of a week has everybody had? I hope everybody has had the most wonderful, wonderful week and weekend. Anything you need to say, Louise, at all?
Not really. We were going to mention about the thing we posted this morning, or do you want to leave that until the end?
No, we'll say it now.
Yeah.
Get all out of the way, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to fire up Instagram / @_the_bench. So here in the UK, who is he? The Chancellor?
Yes, Chancellor of the
Exchequer. Chancellor of the Exchequer has said some things in the press regarding people of the performing arts and musicians, because obviously due to this pandemic, he said that they should retrain. Which I think is a bit of an insult. So I'm not getting into any sort of politics here. So what Louise actually had the most awesome idea in the car this morning. Oh my god, she got an awesome idea. She had this awesome idea. I'll let her explain.
We just thought while we don't agree with the idea that people in the performing arts industry should retrain, it's just doing what we can really to help support and motivate them. And if you play an instrument, obviously you've got to be quite highly or very highly skilled and highly manually dexterous, which is something which goes hand in hand, pardon the pun, with making jewellery. So we thought, while we're not encouraging people to change careers, that it would be something else to do, really. And it just is some small way that we can maybe help people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was the idea behind it. So what we thought we'd do is we would offer 10 six-month subscriptions to At the Bench.
Yes.
To anybody in the performing arts industry, whether they are a musician, a singer, somebody who works in theatre, stage management, anything like that, really, who's been negatively affected by the COVID pandemic. We want to hear from them if they're interested in making jewellery, and they can have 6 months free access to At The Bench, as well as help and advice from the At The Bench team. So that's the idea behind it anyway.
That's right. And do you have the link that people can see to the Instagram?
No, I've just been chatting.
So we put a post up on the Instagram account. The Louise is just going to spark up now.
Hang on, I don't know.
Instagram.com/@_the_bench_UK. We're going to have to change that because there's just far too many underscores.
Atthebench.co.uk.
No. At the bench @_the_bench_UK.
Goodness me.
Well, we decided on that when we were half drunk in Paris on our honeymoon.
That's sad.
You can tell, can't you?
You'd be doing things like that on your honeymoon, should you?
So does that come up?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, right.
No, I can't get it, look, because it's asking me to log in.
Okay, well, at least you got that. Let's just post that onto the chat, shall we? So that is what we decided to do. And also, if you're on Facebook, you can go to the At The Bench Facebook group as well. And I get Louise to sort that out as well. If you want to know more about it and just want to see the graphic. And if you're interested, you can always get in contact with us by the very many varied ways of getting in contact with us, whether it be by direct messenger, private message, Facebook, or via Instagram, or email us, whatever you want to do. If you're a member of the performing arts, musicians, as Louise just said,
perhaps you know somebody who's...
Perhaps you even know somebody. Please do get in touch because we are here to help you. And we're offering 10 6-monthly memberships to At The Bench, full access and ongoing support. There, excellent. Jill saw it this morning. Excellent. So that's it. That's what we needed to say, and that's the Instagram. And Louise is going to get the Facebook account as well. Thank you very much, Louise. She's on the ball today. So I do apologise. It's been a little bit late getting the YouTube scheduled post up. We don't like to do it too early, and there was a bit of a rush today because we haven't had internet access because we haven't been here. We've been out and about, and we only just got back. But just under an hour ago, so that's the reason why it was a little bit late coming on today. So, anything else?
Sandra's asking, is it just for UK performers? I don't see why it can't be...
It can be anybody.
Worldwide?
Yep, anybody worldwide. Totally.
Just such is the nature of your training, isn't it?
The training offers worldwide training, so yeah, we can have it completely around the world, wherever you are, and we will choose 10. At the moment, we haven't really got a closing date on that. You want a sweetie as well? We haven't really got a closing date, but obviously the first come, first serve, we're going to choose 10. Simple as that. What else we got? Okay, so the Art of Stamping by Matteo Cimene book has been won by James. James has been in contact with us, and a copy that's actually been signed by the author is on its way to James. James was from Canada. Absolutely wonderful. So congratulations to James. We do have another competition running as well. You may have seen it on the YouTube. You watch this on YouTube. So don't do it yet. Louise, I've programmed a button already on your Stream Deck.
Okay.
There is a competition to win the new, bear with.
I'm guessing it's...
bangle forming die set in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
ready.
Go on. So the idea is you can win yourself. I haven't got the carrier rod. It's in the vise. You can win one of Matthew Durston's new bangle forming die set. That's one of the dies there. That's another one of the dies there. That's another one of the dies there. Yeah, they're all here. Can you see that? It's got the overhead camera instead. There we go. So you got these dies. Yep. These are now Synclastic. The other dies were anti-clastic. These are now Synclastic. It enables you to do this, to do these sort of bangles. The bangles now are Synclastic that look something like that, as opposed to these.
Chance to wing the new bangle. Wing.
Or flew this link. That's terrible, isn't it? You better adjust that. I was in a rush
Want a chance to win the
To
new
win?
bangle former? Flew this link.
Flew. Oh, I was in a rush. I've been rushing. Well, you've been chatting downstairs. I've been rushing. Do you want to alter that for me?
Yeah.
You have to get Stream Deck on the bottom and get that sorted. Okay, so
I think I'll leave it actually.
No, please don't. The original bangle forming die set made these bangles. Yep, anti-clastic, like that. Now these bangle forming die set can produce these, Synclastic. And you have got a chance of winning. All you got to do is follow the link down there. Excuse the spelling mistakes. That was me in a rush, didn't have my glasses on. Click the link, takes you to the YouTube film. Watch the film because the answer to the question that is asked in the form that you click on beneath the film is contained in the film. So please go watch the film if you haven't done already. Please answer the competition. We think we've had well over 450 entries already. I think we've got about another week or so to go. Is it better? Follow this link. Yeah. Flowing my pretty. Oh dear. In fact, I'm going to leave them to hand because I'm going to come back to them a bit later. But what you will need is a rubber-faced mallet as well. This is a nice soft rubber-faced mallet. The Delrin mallet that is included with the original die set is not going to work because you need something that is going to hit the die and then form over the die. Watch the film, follow the link. Is it down there? Yes, follow the link down there and you will see what's going on and you will be able to enter the competition. Anybody around the world, someone come in. Okay. How's that, Louise?
Yeah.
Right, thank you everybody for coming on today. It is the 12th of October. It is time for a question and answer session. I've talked enough already about nonsense. Louise, may we have our first question, please?
Certainly. Susan is asking, has anybody ever made a Celtic bead wire tool?
I don't know what a Celtic bead wire tool is.
Celtic bead wire tool.
Perhaps you can enlighten us what a Celtic bead wire tool is. Do you have a link to a photograph or to a website that would show us? Because I'd love to see Celtic bead wire tool. Please post a link. We'd love to see it. Not a very good answer, was it, to the first question?
Not a good start, Barry.
No. Do we have the next question, please, Lou?
Janet from Ventura is asking, can you over-polish and burn 925 silver using an electric polisher?
You can't necessarily over-burn it, but what happened when I was in university, a guy, his name is Mark, was making some belt buckles for a fashion show, and he over-polished his silver. He got the rouge and he over-polished it. There was no extraction on the polishing motors, and as he was polishing it, the rouge sort of came off the mop and was going all the way up the wall. In fact, there was even a line of it on the ceiling. He was using far too much rouge, far too much polish. And what happened, the rouge sort of went into the silver itself. I don't know how, whether this is true, I don't know, but it actually happened. It sort of went into the silver, and then when he washed it, it was not so bad. I don't think we actually had an ultrasonic at the time, to be honest. He just simply wiped it down. But then when the models were wearing it, they found that they had like red patches where the buckles were. And we think it was because there was a lot of rouge that had perhaps got ingrained into the silver. I don't know whether it's right or true or whatever. And it came out onto the models' stomachs where they had the belt buckles. I don't know whether that's what they said. So I don't think it is possible to over polish because the heat involved, it was not going to melt the metal at all. What it may do is perhaps remove the fine silver off the surface. So what perhaps may be coming through is some fire scale, fire stain, fire scale, the cupric oxide may be coming through, so perhaps it looks like it, but personally I don't think you can actually burn off the alloy because the heat involved in that is going to be bar. It rolls bead wire. No. Okay, so yeah, well, I'll come to that actually. Let me come to that next. So I don't think it is possible. I just think it may be the fire scale that is coming through. So Susan, it rolls bead wire. There are dies out there that you can buy that I think have the bead sort of look, but the problem is I don't think it's really going to work with a die, because a die with the metal needs to be squashed into place. So I don't think the dies are going to work, to be honest. I suppose, let me just think, I suppose you could. Perhaps you can try, this might be an idea of making something like this, because really, if you're gonna roll something, you're gonna have a piece of metal like this, and you're gonna have to have half circles like this. A bit more, there we go. Not quite, Andrew, there we go. So you're gonna have to have that like that, aren't you? So you're gonna have to have, and then the underside is obviously going to be, that's the one, that's the other one, that's the other one. And these are like exact semicircular, let me zoom in on that, semicircular grooves running the whole length of this. And the idea would be then you would get your round wire by here, like this, and then you'd get this, and then you push that in this direction and you roll over the wire, and these then would cut into the wire to produce your little, almost like peas in a pod, isn't it? Like that. It may work. What do you think? Think that thing will try and work? That may work.
Give it a go.
Give it a go. But the problem would be getting these grooves running. It's almost like rolling mill, a D-section rollers, isn't it? So perhaps Durston can actually just produce just something like that for us to try. Perhaps. I'm speaking to him later. I think I'm speaking to Matthew later. Don't forget, 7th of November, 2020, we're having our 12-hour, and I'm speaking with Matthew a bit later to discuss about discount codes and what he's going to give you, give us to give away to you guys. Okay, Louise, that's enough of that. I'll come back to that a little bit later. But what is the next question, please?
Next question is Laura K. What oil do you recommend for coating tools to prevent rust? I'd rather not use an aerosol.
I would simply just get like a machine oil, something like a 3-in-1. It has to be quite a light oil. You don't want anything too thick and too gloopy, so like an engine oil wouldn't be very good, but a nice light. Here in the UK we've got 3-in-1. It's like a machinist's light oil, like general purpose, you put on your hinges and so forth. So that would be my preferred type of oil. What I would do is get a rag, put some of the oil on the rag, and then wipe the piece with the rag impregnated oil. That would be all you would really need. Don't put too much upon the piece, otherwise, especially on your rolling mills, if you then put the metal through a rolling mill, you may get some marks of the oil may put into it. But 3-in-1 oil on a nice clean cloth, wipe it over your tools, especially if you're in like a damp atmosphere, or high humidity, and if you're lucky to be in that part of the world. I suppose lucky for us, because we're in a horrible part of the world, because it's been cold and dark today. It could be better. So that's what I would suggest. How's that? Excellent. Next question, please, Louise.
Sandy M is asking, why do you need to round the tip of the claw after the stone is set? Why not do it before you set it? You can do. What you can do is simply get. You don't have to round it afterwards. What you can do is where you've got the claw here. It's like this is a bit of a Tiffany sort of setting. So what you could do is get. There are different ways, because if you round the claw first of all, so you get a cup burr. So there's my cup burr, and my teeth are inside of that. That's my cup burr. I come along and I put that cup burr on top of the tip, so I round it off. Brilliant, there we go. There's my tip rounded off.
haven't got a problem with that. The only problem that you may have is that then you come and set the stone. If you round it off first and you want to put your stone in place, yeah, but your stone happens to be, it's not going to fit there, your stone's going to have to fit down here, well then this claw then is far too high. So what you could easily do to rectify that is, before you round the tip, is to cut the girdle first, make sure the stone goes into place, take the stone out, use the cut burr on the tip, then set the stone. But you might as well just leave the stone in place and then do it, because if you leave the stone in place, you may as well just round the top of the claw. So that is why, because usually these claws from, say, the casting company are never exactly level, or you may have soldered it in at a slight wonk and then you need to redo the claws to make sure the claws are level. But yeah, I think that would be the reason. You then would put, and the other reason why is that if you put the bearing cut here for your stone, you don't really have sometimes a lot of claw, or if you use a heart burr and you do that, you don't have an awful lot of claw here to push over onto the stone. It's harder to push a small little bit of metal rather than a longer piece of metal. So if you had a longer claw, it's easier to push the claw over. And once you've done that and the claw is over here, then you have to cut it and then you round the top off. So that would be the reason why you always round it after the stone is set, because you can never get the height of the claws exactly right before you make the bearing. And once you put the bearing in, you might as well just carry on, put the stone in, put the claw over and then round it. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Amco is asking for tips for soldering many very thin 0.4mm wires onto a larger piece. I want to make statement on a flower.
Okay, so
I'd like to see that.
Sounds nice, doesn't it? So what I would never do is put the torch flame onto the wire, because it's going to melt. So say you have a disc, for argument's sake, and you want to put wires on that disc, okay? So you got to think about the size and the mass of the metal. These wires are really thin. The base can be quite thick. Now what's going to happen? You're going to put your torch by here. This is your torch, okay? What is going to happen? These wires are going to heat up so quickly because they are thin. The base here is hardly going to get to any sort of temperature. These wires are going to melt before the base has got to the right temperature for the solder to flow. So what I would be inclined to do then is drill holes. That's not a hole, that's the opposite way around. I would drill holes into the base, if you can, and put the wires into the holes. Okay, then I would put the torch then from underneath. So here's the torch going from underneath the plate, and then perhaps put a little bit of solder perhaps by the side here, or put a little bit of solder into the hole. Heat from underneath. When the base gets to the correct temperature for the solder to melt, because these wires are in contact with the base, they will get to the same temperature at the same time as the base, because the heat is being transferred from the base to the wires. So then they should all solder very nicely. If you can't make holes in the base plate, perhaps cover the base plate with solder and perhaps bundle all the wires together if you can somehow, and just hold all these wires together with something so they are all in contact with the base, and then heat from underneath, because the base has a bigger mass. It's going to need to get to the temperature for the solder to melt, and if you put the flame on this area here, the wires are going to melt because they're thinner and the wires will heat up quicker than the base. There we go. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Sandra is awaiting an order of first charcoal block instead of kiln brick. I heard I should bind it against cracking. What's the best way?
Yes, so all you got to do is get some binding wire. I'd also try and make a little tray for it to sit on as well, perhaps add a bit of copper. Get a piece of copper that's perhaps 10 millimeters bigger all round than your charcoal block. Make a little cut into the corners like that, okay? And then crease it along here and bend it up. So you make a bit of a tray then, don't you? Like that. Does that make sense? Then make a tray for your charcoal block to sit in. And make sure it's nice and snug. So should the charcoal block break, it's not going to fall away in pieces. Also keeps your bench nice and clean and tidy as well. Stops the dust from going everywhere. So then what you also need to do is that you've got your charcoal block here. You need to get some binding wire. So just some steel or some iron binding wire. What you want to do is have the end protruding over the end here. You take it around the back, bring it around here, okay? Take it around again, around the back here, bring it round here, then twist these ends together. All right? But invariably, the wire is not going to be tight enough. Then you get a pair of pliers, flat nose pliers, like this. You grab the wires and you twist it a little bit. So the wires will come along and they'll go ooh, 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 like this, doo, doo, doo. Like this, and this is where you've twisted it, and likewise on this way it'll go doot 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 doot. So the wires will be twisted. As you twist it, it pulls the wire into the block and will hold the block together. Then you put it in the base, hunky dory, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, you're all set to go. Should if I could fit any more of those into that sentence, I would if I could. Hunky dinky dory, it's all done. So should then you heat up the block and the block splits, the wire is going to hold it together, and also because the tray is underneath it, it's going to keep it all together as well. So there we go. Do you quench the block after use? No. Because then the block is going to get absolutely soaking wet. If you come to solder on again, it's not going to work. The water is going to start to steam and bubble up, and that would have to evaporate before then you carry on soldering. So don't quench the block. It's a charcoal block, it's going to wear. As you solder in one particular spot here, it's going to wear, it's going to become a bit of a dip. So move around the block as you use it and you'll find that it'll even itself out. If you do find you've got dips and it's really, really uneven, you can always turn it over, use the other side, and then perhaps then when that outer edge then is a little bit wavy, go outside as you do with a piece of cuttlefish, a bit of sandpaper or your next door neighbour's wall like I use, and then rub it on the wall just to get rid of all the charcoal off the surface to make it nice and level again. And hey presto, new charcoal block, start all over again. No worries. Next question please, Louise.
Okay, Jade is asking, can you use other metals apart from precious metals to make a bezel setting post?
Bezel setting post.
Yes.
Bezel setting post. Do you mean the post that goes through the ear? Because really you shouldn't use anything that is going to be in contact with the ear that's going to go a funny colour. So you wouldn't put copper posts in your ear because your ear is going to have some reaction to it. You can use things like surgical steel. Whether you could actually solder those in place, I'm not too sure. If you do want to put posts onto the back of a bezel, get the post with a little pad. So you've got the post here, there's your little bit of a, yep, so there's your little groove at the end of the post. The posts normally just come to an end like that. What I'd advise you to do is to get the posts that have a little bit of a pad like that. That then will offer a greater surface area to solder onto the back of a post, especially if you're using something like perhaps like a surgical steel, something like that. Is that what you mean? I don't know. But if you want to use a different metal for the outside, for the bezel, yeah, you can use things like brass, you can use things like copper. Brass is going to be harder to push over, but copper would be no problem at all. But that would be my best bet, to get those little pads that go on the earring post. It's going to make life so much easier and a lot stronger. There we go. Super duper. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay.
Yeah, you're on the board today, aren't you? There's no messing about today with you.
No. Kevin is asking, what size drill and burr would I use for a 1.5 centimetre round ruby?
Okay, 1.5 centimetre. So I would. So it's 1.5 millimeters diameter. So perhaps initially I would come along and use a drill, perhaps 0.7 or a 1 millimeter drill. So I wouldn't go any bigger than that, preferably 0.7, but that tends to be quite small, so I use a 1 millimeter drill. Don't have it too fast in the flex shaft or your Dremel. Make sure you do use some cut lube or some beeswax on the drill. Don't let it overheat. If you hear it starting to screech, take it out, put a bit of lube on it, otherwise the screeching is really gonna start to snap. So you don't wanna do that. 1.5, all right, so then I would use a ball burr. Yep, so I'd use the ball burr. Perhaps I would go down to perhaps like a 1.3 ball burr. Ball burr is gonna be quite aggressive. The teeth are gonna be open. It's going to do quite a rough sort of cut. You can then go on to I would measure that stone first of all, really accurately, to see if it actually is 1.5, just to be on the safe side. Then I would then go up to a 1.5 millimeter, either a heart burr or a 90-degree setting burr. Oh, yeah. Which is, the heart burr is straight-sided setting burr. I think that's it. I can't remember. Whatever. I can't remember the names. It's all completely gone. So that belongs with that. The ball burr belongs. That's the ball burr there. That belongs to that. And obviously a drill looks like that, and that comes down like that, and that's that. So that's what I would use. You can get away with a 1.5 millimeter ball burr as well if you wanted to. I don't tend to use ball burrs when it comes to that. Yes, Louise?
It was centimetres, not millimetres.
1.5 centimeters.
Yeah. I did say centimetres.
Did you?
Yeah, and I have confirmation that I said that. Let's play back the tape.
Okay. So scrub all that. If you're using a 1.5 millimeter stone,
sorry, I was
use
I was
all that.
something else. I wasn't really
you were
paying
away with the fairies. So
I wasn't. No, I bought it.
So a 15 millimeter ruby. That's a 1.5 centimeter.
Yeah, at one point that's
a big
what
ruby.
Kevin
Now,
said, yeah.
is Kevin on there now? Is that
Yes.
But it doesn't matter. Okay. I would use all of those. But what I would do, you're not going to get a 15 millimeter diameter. So you can still use all of them, but what you're going to have to do is, because then...
oh, Kevin said millimetre. But it did say centimetres further up.
It did. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So there we go. But if you don't, if you don't happen to have a 15 millimeter burr, for argument's sake, or like a 5 millimeter burr or a 6 millimeter burr, you can get away with the smaller burrs. What you have to do then is move the burr around, so you'd have the so you'd have your setting burr here, yeah, and then you've got your hole around here, and you'd actually use This is the hole, yeah, and you use that to go around the outside edge. So you'd make the hole, you'd make it bigger, and then you get the burr, and you'd move the burr around the edge of the setting, checking the stone all the time, making sure that you've got the right size. And obviously, the bigger the burr, the more clean and tidy that circle is going to be. There we go. Thank you for the clarification on that. Thank
Okay,
you.
no problem.
Next question, please, Louise.
Do you have a link for the mallet? Laura would like a link for the mallet.
If you're in the UK, it's Cookson. So Cookson, what's that, 20mm head? I think it's about a 20mm head on that one, yeah.
That it? That the one?
Yeah,
That it?
I can't see.
£1?
A pound?
No, £1. Let's not get into metrics again and
Cookson looks like that.
£1 hammer. Oh, that's not it. Okay. It's not a pound
It's not a pound.
in money.
Where are we doing that pound shop now, are we? Looks like that.
Like that.
Like that. Rubber.
Orange and red hammer.
It's actually orange. No, yeah, rubber-headed mallet.
Right, I'll work on that now. I'll let you answer another question, shall I?
All right then, maybe have our next question, please.
Tune,
Louise.
sterling fine or argentium, best to use for rings. We can't comment on argentium.
I would always use, people use fine silver for bezels because it bends over a lot easier, especially if you've got quite a deep or thick bezel. I've never used fine silver. I always use sterling silver. Can't comment on argentium, although I wouldn't really mix argentium with sterling, to be honest. No, I'd have sterling. Ooh, excuse me. Next question, please, Louise.
Kristen is asking what polishing compounds are best for buffing, and then doing a final polish. Tripoli, Rouge, or maybe Fabuloster?
Fabuloster. All right. So, yes, Steve, the heads unscrew. Ooh, what was that? Yeah, the heads unscrew, so you can replace them. Kevin, sorry, the rubies are 1.4 to 1.6. You've got to measure them really accurately. And then that final straight side of setting burr or 90-degree setting burr has to be the same size, preferably as the stone you're setting. So you may need to get a few sizes of those burrs. And pointing to that is just being wiped off. But that's what I would do. I am in two camps here. Not that sort of camp, Louise. Yeah. Where's my rouge gone from here? There you go. I use a Tripoli, and I always then use a rouge. That's a small bit of rouge. Tripoli is the pre-polish. That rouge is like a radio rouge or AA rouge, and I find I get really good results with them. Oh, don't put them on there, Andrew. Alternative, I use another polishing compounds as well, which I will show you now. I use Menzerna. Where do you find the mallet?
I'm looking through 6 pages of mallets.
Is there rubber? You see rubber? Rubber mallet. Or also what I use is things like this, which is Menzerna. This is a heavy cut, so this would be the equivalent of my Tripoli. Okay, so this is Tripoli, this is Menzerna. Menzerna number 2 cut. This is a 456G, I think that says on there. So that's the equivalent of a bit more of an aggressive cut. And then I would switch over then to a super fine. I would tell you what this is if I could. SF super finish on this one. This one you would use on things like yellow gold and red gold because it's this color. You can also get a super finish or a super fine that is white, and you can use that with white metals like your platinum or a silver. I don't often use things like Dilux or or the other little bars that I've got loads of polish, but these I just really stick to because I seem to get really good results with what these are. These are bars and these will last me years and years. And to be honest, that bit of triply there, I must have had that for about 8 years. I think it was a bar that was like that big, like a big Mars bar. I think that's about 8 years old. So it's going to take you years and years just to get through the polish. That's why I buy the polished blocks like that. Do you find the mallet yet, Louise?
No, you sure you got it from Cookson's?
I did.
100%.
100% sir. That was from Cookson's Outlet. Yeah. The Menzuna Green. I've never seen Menzuna Green. Is that a rough or fine polish? I've never. Is there lemon all over your triply? No, it's not. I keep it in my tray in a bit of a nice clean area of my tray. All the lemon goes into the middle. My polish is normally over to the side, and it's always perhaps on something. That's actually on a bit of paper there, just to keep it off my lemon tray. Romy says urethane forming hammer. Yeah. Okay, so Louise has it one step before the red rouge. Ah, okay, cool. There we go. Menzuna, any place who sells it in the US? I don't know. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Sorry for the super long link.
No worries. There we go. So that's on there. I love this. Someone's actually given us a thumbs down already. Oh, that's nicer then.
I haven't even seen it all.
Oh.
It's a bit harsh,
It's a bit harsh. There's one day YouTube's going to turn around and go, do you know what? You can find out who's negged you. Just click on the thumbs down and their name will come up. I can't wait for that day. I cannot wait for that day.
Why? What are you going to do?
I don't know, but I just cannot wait for that day.
Do you reckon they're still watching? Having negged you going,
We negged him. We negged him. Click on the link. Click on the thumbs down now, Louise. See if it comes up now. The person who's negged us. I'm only joking.
I can't see the thumbs down. Where is it?
It doesn't work.
Oh, doesn't it?
No, it's just try and get whoever's watching.
They will have sore thumbs. I hope they do have sore thumbs.
All right, maybe have a next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Ashley is asking for advice for setting something with a pointed corner like sea glass, i.e. the bezel.
Advice on the bezel. Always set the bezel, the corner first. So you've got a bit of nice bit of sharp corner, a bit of sea glass there, haven't you? And it's always just like this, isn't it? Oh, nice bit of sharp corner there. So there's your bit of sea glass, and it's a nice sharp corner. So what you want to do is to get your bezel like that, like this. So here's your bezel.
Good sound effects today.
Like that. There you go. So this is your bezel that is on a flat plate. For argument's sake, you put your sea glass in place. You always start on the corner. Never start in the middle, because what happens if you burnish, and this will apply whether it's sea glass or whether you're setting a square stone. I'm trying to draw a square stone here, like that, and you have a square bezel. Yeah, you've got a square bezel on a round plate. Okay, so there's that comes in like that there. So this is your bezel, that's your stone. You've always got to start on the corners. If you got to be careful that you don't damage the corners. So sometimes if especially if you're looking at this and your bezel is quite thick, where the corner of the stone goes, you don't let the metal touch the stone. So looking down on top, I know I'm going to come to this in a minute, but I just want to tell you about this. So say you then have your bezel that is nice and thick going around. Here's your stone. Okay, so there's your stone. You've got a nice thick bezel that your square stone is going into. What you don't want is to have any metal touching the corner of the stone, because you put too much pressure on that corner and the stone is going to chip. So what you'd always do is get something like a ball burr or the tip of a drill and just make a little bit of a gap like that on the corners inside the bezel. Yes, Louise?
I don't want you to do the sound effects.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Okay. So you use So you wouldn't see this because this is inside. You'd have the, this is the inside the bezel. That's your ledge that your stone is sitting on. And you'd make a little little hole here. So when the stone goes into place, the stone will not hit the metal. So always do that, first of all, okay? If it's something like this here, this is what you want to do. Let me try and zoom in on this. Does that make sense? Because you put too much pressure on that edge of the stone and the stone is going to shatter, it's going to chip, and it's going to fracture. So you don't want to put any pressure on the corner. So then when you burnish the bezel over, and this applies to claws as well. If you've got a claw, here's your claw, and you've got your square stone going in, you would make, for argument's sake, let's just simply do a little bearing like that. What you do is where the corner of the stone goes, you always make a little hole here, so the stone tip does not touch the metal. So there we go. So coming back to this, what you would do is perhaps do the same sort of thing. Try not to get too much metal touching the edge of the stone, but always start to burnish from the edge towards the middle of the bezel. Okay, and then you've got it over here. Always then go from the edge to the middle of the bezel, from the edge here to the middle of the bezel, and from the edge there to the middle of the bezel. If it was square, rectangular, hexagonal, oblong, whatever, always do it in that way. Because if you start in the middle here and you burnish it, as you're burnishing it, you're stretching the metal. So then you would come down to here, and what you'd find is that this area here is moving away from the stone. So then you do the same from here. You start at the middle, you burnish, you burnish, you burnish, and what you're going to find, instead of having a nice neat edge like that, you're going to find you're going to have an edge that looks like that. The stone comes in here, and the stone is not going to be anywhere near the corner of the bezel. So that is why you always come here, you burnish from this corner, you push it over, and then you burnish, burnish, burnish towards the middle. You stop, edge, burnish, 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 and it's easy then because you're going to have a little bit of excess metal that may be stretching away, but that's easy to push back down onto the stone rather than this area like this here where the metal has become stretched because you've gone to the corners. What was the question? That was the question, that was the answer. Sea glass, sharp corner. Oh, I just didn't off go on.
Do you know what? I think it was Trevor said earlier. He's got a new phrase, an Andrewism. Somebody said it's why does my feed say the 5th of October? Beth said why does my feed say the 5th of October?
Does it?
Trevor said it's an Andrewism.
Oh yeah, live Q&A with Andrew, 5th of October.
Yeah.
That's not good. I was in a rush.
I could write a book of them, honestly.
We were in a heck of a rush. We only got in with about 40 minutes to spare today. If there was a traffic jam, we wouldn't have got here. We would have had to done a live in the car. Now that would have been a good one. I would love to have done that actually. Driving along. Andrew. Annabelle wants to know.
I've done a carpool karaoke.
Hang on, let me just. Yeah. Next question, please, Louise.
Would you like another question? Okay. Scrap Over Engineering has asked first of a two-part question, but I can't find part two. Sorry. So if you could post that up, I can read the second part of the question. For the first time, I've been commissioned to make something for a friend. I have to make a ring from a casting of a special teaspoon. The stem is the bit I have to replicate. So if you...
So it's the handle of the spoon. The gentleman can't use the spoon, but he needs to replicate it. Yeah.
Replicate the stem of the spoon.
Is it patterned or is it
I don't know.
Is it
as much as I know about the spoon.
The best thing to do then would be to sand cast it. Would be to use Delft clay casting. Andrew and Lee's car share question and answer. Now that would be an interesting one.
Oh, don't give him ideas.
What? That would be really good, wouldn't it? We'll have to do that, won't we? Tell you what.
He's going to try and do that now.
When we're going away on holiday,
Which is never.
we're going to have to do a question and answer car share with Andrew and Louise. Now that'd be really cool. Has anybody ever done a jewellery question and answer from the car?
No, because it's not safe.
All right, so going back to this room temperature vulcanized mold, yes, but it's going to take an awful lot of equipment to inject the wax and to lost wax cast it. Wax inject it, yeah, absolutely, but not everybody has those sort of facilities. So what I would suggest you do is sand cast it. That's going to be the easiest way. Try and get I just seem to love drawing squares and rectangles today. So what I would try and do is get the molds with in 2 parts rectangular. You should have enough space then to perhaps, if you've got just the handle of the spoon, what you can actually have is, I'm just really thinking on my feet now, if that makes sense. So here is you can get the molds, aluminium molds, with the pouring channel at the one end. All right, just thinking, yes. So what am I going to do? Okay, fill that up with sand until it is up to its, right up to the top of here. So here's the sand, this is all sand. You get your spoon, because you've got the little cutout here, you can lay the spoon down. Use the bowl of the spoon, that's not quite right, is it? You've got the bowl of the spoon down here. Here's the handle running down, and it goes, woo. I don't know what type of handle you've got, but I guess it's nothing like that. But then you've got this. So then you put the other half of the frame on top, bash the sand in, separate the frames, take the spoon out, and because the spoon was coming through here, you can then make your pouring channel by there. So then you can pour your molten metal, obviously turn it upright that way down, and it should fill the handle. Yeah. Or if you've got 10 minutes, okay. Or if you've got the round rings, you can again get the round rings with the cutout on the side and do exactly the same thing, couldn't you? You can do exactly the same thing. Fill that all with sand, put the spoon in by here. So here's your spoon, and the handle would be like that. And because you've got this area here, you cut your pouring channel, and that will go directly into the handle. How about that? That would be the best way, I think. Yes. Okay, there you go. Sand cast grills. We're not going to go down that route again. Someone's just posted on there. Not grills again.
Okay, would you like another question?
I'd love another question, please, Louise.
Gillian would like to know, have you done a ring from a coin?
No. Actually, now, see, my problem with these coins is that I don't have a problem because you can stamp out the middle. Okay, so if you stamp them, I haven't made one, but I'm thinking if somebody wants to mention something in the chat, I'd be happy to have a chat about it. So you've got your coin, yeah? Here's your coin here. You've got a hole. Okay, so this is your coin. Here's your thing around the edge, and it's a coin with a hole in the middle. Okay?
Why is there a hole in the middle?
Because you're going to make it into a ring.
Oh, I thought I just had the, okay, I was thinking of something completely different.
So then you have your mandrel, yeah? You put that down here, so it sort of comes into this little area like this, doesn't it, then? So you do that, yeah? Or you put it into a conical die and you push down to it so it makes into into this sort of shape, doesn't it? Yeah, and there's the hole down here. Now, my argument is, and I've never seen one of these.
An old coin.
Pardon?
Jimmy's saying an old coin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come to that. Can I just talk about this? Because I'm really interested in this first. Do you mind?
I don't mind.
do you mind? So
I think I had in my mind's eye like a, like a sovereign.
Yeah, and like a coin that fastens on top without damaging the coin, you mean? Then, yeah, basically, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's what I assumed.
Okay, so if anybody makes coin rings in this way, can we just have a chat about it in there, just so I know, and we'll come to that. So yeah, there is a coin tool, a coin ring tool. It is pretty expensive, but my argument is, because this goes down onto the mandrel, yeah, you're making this area here bigger, but you're not making this area bigger. So does the thickness of the coin change? So if you have then the ring, okay, so here's the ring, and you finally made the ring, okay, but because you've had to stretch one edge more so to fit down the mandrel here, but you haven't stretched that edge, does that mean that this bottom edge here is thinner than the outside edge? So if you looked at this, would the metal be that sort of shape? I'm really curious. Yeah, so is the metal thinner at one end than the other, because this edge here is this edge around here? So does the coin taper like that? Let me know in the chat. Okay, so going back to the original question, have I ever made a coin ring? I have 5 minutes to do this. Yes, what I would do, I would then, you get your coin, use your coin with someone's head on it. There's your coin. You get the diameter of the coin. You would then make a round bezel. No, you make a round ring for this coin to sit on. Okay, so this is like that. So this then is a ring that this coin sits exactly on top of. Okay, perfect. Then what you would do is make up the ring that your finger goes into. So perhaps then you would make up a ring for your finger. Yeah, so this is the ring that goes underneath. Really quick on this now. So that's the ring. You then would have to fasten this bezel on top of the ring. You can do it simply by, there's the ring there. You could simply do that if you wanted to, or you could have it in such a way that you could add perhaps some shoulders into that place by there like that. Okay, so this ring then is suspended above the ring. Then you would also then solder on little claws onto the edge of the ring like that. Okay, so that's like that. So then when the coin then sits in here, you can push these claws over the coin, so your coin sits on top of there. So this is your coin with the milled edge. Your claws are on the outside like that, sticking up. Just push that over just to hold the coin in place. Do you think that's what was meant? An actual
that's
coin?
what I think. Yeah.
So yeah, you could. This ring here could be simply on top of the finger, or you can raise it. And there's lots of different ways you can do this, but by having shoulders or something like that to lift this up out of the way would be the best way of doing it. There we go. How's that? It's a coin with the center cut out. We all have silver coins. We make these rings. Right. Okay. Next question, then, please, Louise.
When we were talking about the block earlier, the
ball, making the balls.
No.
Celtic balls.
No, the
charcoal block?
Yes.
Yes.
How do you quench the block after use?
You don't quench it, just leave it.
Okay.
It doesn't burn. It will glow, but then it's not going to carry on burning at all. It'll just stop and not burn. It doesn't, because it's burnt already. There's nothing within the block that is combustible, if you know what I mean, because when you burn something, what you're left with is like the ash. If you can't set fire to that ash or to the bit of briquette that you've got in your barbecue, once it's burnt, that's it. You don't find the charcoal blocks will carry on burning once they've been lit.
It was a coin ring with the centre cut out.
My goodness me, it's hard work today, isn't it? It's so much like hard work
You're
today.
stuck in last blooming week. We still think it's the 5th of...
We're going to have to alter that, aren't we? Definitely have to alter that when it finishes.
Sorry, Julia.
So, can somebody answer me that then? When you have the coin cut out, the centre cut out, when you stretch it, the centre's going to stretch, the centre's going to be thinner. So, does the coin edge...
Steve has
Steve?
been commenting on this.
Yeah, go on, Steve.
Where are you, Steve? I think You said there was a machine for it. I can't find it now though.
There is a machine. There's a coin tool, ring tool, but it's got to stretch the centre. The centre's got to go thinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you put something relevant, and I can't find it now.
Yeah.
Sorry, where was
Okay.
it?
Quick question whilst Louise is just checking that. Steve set out, can you just let me know, Matrix. Matrix is now incorporated with Rhino. Is it worth the £7,000 plus VAT here in the UK? Let me know, is it worth it? I don't want to go down to the moment of inspiration or anything cheaper end. I either want 3 design or Matrix. Just let me know your thoughts. Message me after the show. Yes, Louise?
Yeah, Steve has said Etsy has tools to make it simple. I'm assuming it's related to this.
Yeah.
And it has to be slightly thinner. It's stretched a lot.
It is going to be thinner. So one edge is going to be thicker, one edge is going to be thinner, because you have to stretch the one edge to fit and to expand the finger, but the outside edge has to be compressed, so it's going to be thicker. So the rings are that shape. You never see that, do you? You see it on YouTube when they show you how to do this. What's the guy's name? Kevin the coin man who invented the tool to do this. You never see really the thicknesses of the metal, and I'm always curious. Okay, Louise, may we have our next question, please?
Creations of RJ is asking, what are your takes on silver inlay rings? I recently made one with an inlay and a spinner. My problem is the rings only weigh about 8 grams, so I don't feel very good charging more than $50.
This is the problem when it comes to the handmade pieces, isn't it? It is so difficult. Everyone says, it's all very well, everyone says charge what you have to, charge what you can, but sometimes I find that a design is so technical that you won't sell it. If you work out the man hours and the labour cost involved in making a ring. Pardon?
The person hours.
The person hours, the labour charge to make this very politically correct there. So sometimes an actual piece you can't sell because it's just far too expensive. So perhaps you should try and adjust your design to make it a little bit cheaper, to make it worthwhile you making it and to be able to sell it.
It's really difficult, isn't it?
It is a very fine line, I think. Everyone says, don't put your foot down, don't be swayed, don't sell yourself short, but there's got to come a point when you can't put in, say, 3 days work on a silver ring and expect to get £300-400 or dollars for a silver ring.
Doesn't it come down to how quickly you want to sell it? Because we were talking about this before, and I think if you see something that you really, really like, or it's like jewellery you buy for me, and you always grumble after you bought it.
Yeah, full price. I buy it full price from a designer who I can't get it for trade, and I do grumble.
Yeah, because obviously how much it costs to make.
Yes.
But then if I see something I really like and I can afford it,
I suppose
I probably buy it.
Yeah.
And that person might not come along straight away, but then it just.
Now, that's actually quite interesting, because I wrote an article for one of the trade magazines. Is it better to get a penny from a lot or a pound from a few? I can't remember. I think that was something like the title. And I wrote about, is it better to sell yourself cheap, make a small amount of money, but you sell loads of them? Or do you want to make a lot of money and only sell a couple of them? What is best?
But then I suppose that comes down to targeting as well, doesn't it?
Targeting your audience, yeah.
So you can. That's the thing. There's so many variables that you can drag into it that it's such a vast topic, isn't it?
It is. Because
Steve has just said, if you work in silver, add gold accents to raise the perceived value to make the sale easier. Yeah,
that's a good idea. I like that. It's a good idea, that one. But my argument would be is that we never price our repairs cheap, because I feel that you can be working all day purely doing repairs, or even you could translate this onto making pieces of jewellery as well. If you sell yourself cheap, you're going to be making so many or doing so many repairs for making a small amount of money. So my argument would be increase the price, increase the price of repairs, because repairs are trust sensitive, not necessarily price sensitive. Because people come in and say, I want my ring repaired, and they come to you because they trust you. They don't go into
Reassuringly
anywhere.
expensive.
Reassuringly, yeah.
that was the beer advert, wasn't it?
Is
What
that
was
how you
that
did it?
beer? He said it's reassuringly expensive. Anyway, I'm progressing.
Yeah, so my argument would be to raise the price, and then you reach a ceiling to, if you go any further, no one's going to come in. They say, oh my God, that's way, way too expensive. So what I would do is increase your price to a certain level. But my argument would be, is the fact that if Joe Bloggs down the road is making, 10 rings a day and making £1 on every ring, he's making £12, okay? My argument on that would that I would like to make £4 a ring and only make 3 in a day. So he's working his butt off all day, making 12 rings and making £1 a ring. He's making £12. I will make 3 rings a day, and perhaps I'll have the afternoon off and I'll go on my bike, I'll put my feet up, I'll read the paper, and I'm making the same amount of money as him for doing a third of the work. And that would be my argument. I just really contradicted myself then, really, didn't I? But I think there comes a ceiling when people will not pay the price, and it's just that ceiling I think you have to get to if you just really want to make a good living. Yeah, exactly. You beat your body up trying to do a lot and make a little. So exactly. So I would always try and price your work so you're not selling yourself short. You're not working your socks off every day, making a small amount of money, selling a lot.
As well, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
so much.
yeah. There's everything. Try and reducing costs. Try and reduce your overheads. Thinking of ways to make jewellery or make the ways to make them quicker, so you don't have to charge as much, or still charge the same and have more time for yourself or for your family.
Perhaps we could talk about this in the 12 hour, because it's a question that comes up quite a lot, isn't it?
Yes, yes. There's the Blue Book by Mr. Geller. I do have a copy. I think I bought it about 12, 15, 20 years ago. That is what we sort of base our prices on for the shop. Everything has a time. You time all the work, you time all the repairs. So that is something that I think we should talk about during our 12 hour. It's about pricing and perceived values. I think that would be a really good one to talk about, wouldn't it?
We could bring that into putting what you've got in front of the right people as well.
Yeah.
Finding your audience.
And your market,
comes
isn't
into
it?
the same sort of sphere, I suppose, isn't it?
Yes. And as Steve said, putting gold accents onto it to increase the perceived value of the piece as well. There we go. One end is thinner than the other. Thank you, Laura K. I have a coin ring, bought it, didn't make it, just measured it. One end is thinner. So there we go. All right then. So maybe have another question. I think we've got time for one more question. I think
Susan is asking, have you Tuffer cast?
Tuffer cast.
Tuffer cast.
Tuffer, which
What's
is
Tuffer cast?
it's Tuffer is using things like peat. I think is it peat with cement, and you make a mold using that. It's make Tuffer. They make plant containers from it, and I think it's like peat mixed.
Oh, is it like peat pots?
Yes, but like concrete sort of. Yes, I think it's, no, I've never tried it. It's volcanic. There we go. Susan's pretty knowledgeable, isn't she? Thank you, Susan, for helping out. Do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, is it volcanic rock? Is it volcanic rock then?
I don't know, I've never heard of it.
Tuffer, I heard of Tuffer casting.
Tuffer cast,
Is it volcanic rock?
Volcanic, Susan said volcanic, yeah.
Volcanic rock. I've never tried it. Never tried it. Where should we get some Tuffer from then?
I shall research tomorrow.
You can't pop into the Tesco's and buy some tofu.
Yeah, that might not work.
Tofu, toffer.
Probably not the best substitute.
No. All right, one more question. One more question I can actually answer, shall we?
Tom,
negotiator.
Hey, got it right. Tom, you got it right. I have some 14 karat gold.
Yep.
How do I turn it into white gold?
You can't. You can, but you have to get the 14 karat, you have to refine it, get it back to pure, and then add the necessary alloys to it to make it white. You cannot, because once you've got, let's have a look. So my argument, see, I always think, and I love doing this, where when customers come into the shop, and they want to know about white gold and yellow gold, and why is my white gold slightly not white and it's a bit more yellow. So my argument is, you've got 24 carat, okay, pure gold. There's my bar, 24 carat, that's pure gold, okay. 14 carat, it could be say 18 carat or 9 carat. So what you've got out of that whole bar that is 24 carat, for argument's sake, 14 carat, you have got this much, 14 carat. And that is yellow. The rest of the metals here, which is 10 carat or 10 parts, so that's 14 parts. And here you've got 10 parts. This is always yellow. 14 carat, it means how much gold. Gold is yellow. You can't change the color of gold. Gold is yellow. Pure gold is yellow. You've got 14 parts of pure gold, which is yellow. It's these other parts here that make up, that alters the color. If you want red gold, rose gold, these parts are going to be things like copper that is going to add a hint of color to the metal. You want white gold. These other 10 parts, you can't alter this. This is yellow. You can't alter this. This is the part here that alters the whole color of the metal. You want white gold. This is going to be, for argument's sake, say silver, which is white. So then that silver alters the whole color of the metal. You still got yellow into it. So your bit of metal is 14 carat. I expect it's yellow. So these 10 other parts are going to be yellowish metals. That's going to keep the whole alloy of the whole bar yellow. Once you've got that, you cannot change that. This is fixed in stone in a gold bar. You can't change it. So what you've got to do, you've got to refine it. You've got to refine this. You've got to add your acids to it, whether it be nitric or hydrofluoric acid to it. You get rid of those 10 parts of whatever, okay? And you are now left with a bar of pure gold. Okay, that's your pure gold. So you've got rid of all those parts with a refining process. So now you've got your bar of 24 carat. Now you add your other metals. Now you would add your 10 parts of other metals that will then change the color of that. And I don't think you will ever make white gold a pure white gold, because it is primarily yellow in this case, or in this country we have things like 9 carat. So you've got 9 carat, so then you'd have 15 parts other metals that colors. You've always got yellow gold in it, so there's always going to be a slight hint of yellow gold in it. So the answer to your question, you can't change your 14 carat yellow white without refining it and getting rid of those 10 parts of the metals. You get your pure bar, then you'd add your other metals to it to make it white. Send it off to the refiners and say, here's some 14 carat, here's 20 grams of 14 carat. I would like in return 14 carat white. You may not get the whole amount back because obviously they lose some of those metals. Then they would add it and you would pay for that. How's that? I'm actually worn out after all that.
Are you?
I am. Anything you need to say, Louise? They've just been going just over an hour. I will say for now, thank you very much for watching the question and answer. It's been the 12th of October, and I'll say this because I edit this for At The Bench, you see, so we don't get the boring chat or the rambling on at the end of it, so I just cut it down into that.
Shall I say the 12th again, and I won't talk over you, go on.
It's fine. I finished now.
You can say it.
No, go on. That's it, I finished now.
I won't spoil it, I promise.
Thank you for watching the question and answer for the 12th of October. See you next time. But I'm still here. Okay, yes, Louise, anything you want to say?
No.
You sure?
said it all, haven't we?
I think you said it all. That's about it. Anything else we need to know? Don't forget,
if you know anybody who is in the performing arts industry and you think might like to learn some jewellery making, get in touch with us.
Yep. Do you want to put the link up to the Facebook?
Yes.
Do you have that still at hand? And the Instagram? So we just put a post up on Instagram and on Facebook on At The Bench's Facebook page, just saying about we're offering people with performing arts theatres and so forth, musicians, if you are thinking of having to retrain because of the COVID situation.
Or just for a little, I don't know, we always try and think of ways to help, and it's just a...
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, just be thinking nice ways to help.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Ways to help. Just click on those posts, have a look and see what's what. Get in contact with myself or Louise, whichever way you want to. She's been hammering the whole hour. Oh, bless. No rolling mill. All right. Talking about no rolling mills, don't forget, before I go any further, the new bangle forming die set from Durston. You've got a chance of winning this. Louise is going to put a little link down in the chat again in a second. Look at the YouTube film. The answer to the question is in the YouTube film. Click on the little link on the bottom of that particular film. It takes you to a form. Fill in your entry. Fill in the correct answer, and only correct answers will go ahead to be entered into a draw to win one particular copy of that. That's about it. Date, next question answer next week, 19th of October, 4 p.m. here in the UK, Kristen. Ignore, I'm going to alter the 5th of October. I thought I actually altered it.
It's going to be the 19th.
19th. Yeah, I did just say 19th, didn't I?
The 19th.
19th.
The 19th. Thank you for keeping Andrew sane today. I don't think I succeeded there, Steve. Goodness me.
Oh dear. Show us your bench. It's not quite sure whether this is a really nice clean bench. Look at this. See, nice clean bench. Look at this clean bench. Look at that clean bench. Ooh, clean bench. And this is what I use to swap between all the different cameras, as you can see. Yeah, nice clean bench. This is a real bench, but it's not my real bench. My real bench is downstairs. Absolute mess. 12-hour marathon session coming up. Enjoy your car share experience back home tonight. Put your phone on record so we can have a beep at the... We've only got a 5-minute drive home tonight. So we live fairly close to the shop, don't we? Yes, got a 5-minute... We don't. We got a 5... Yeah, we're going to drive home. But there's no road rage tonight. What was I going to say? 12-hour, 7th of November. The entries are closed. We've got all the information we need about what techniques and what tools we need to show you guys. It is now time for us now to...
Show us your real bench. Yeah. Show me a real bench.
It's downstairs. This is a lovely recording studio.
This isn't his bench.
Well, this is not my bench. No. So this is. Oh, come on. Let's just have a quick. So this is this. So this is this room. This is our recording studio. As you can see, the whiteboard. We got all these things. We got nice lights. That's my face. Down here, you can see we've got loads of tools down here. We've got that's the Louise cam. Yeah, this is to get my white balance right when I'm doing photographs, rolling mill, whatever. And over there, that's my camera that I look at. That's Louise stuck against the board over there in the corner, bless her. So that's the recording studio that we've got here. There's also an overhead camera. We've got lights all around us. So this is primarily the recording studio that we use for these webcasts, these live streams, and also for filming for At The Bench. We also use this for our Facebook Lives for the shop as well. We bring our stuff up and it looks very nice. It looks like QVC with Louise and myself. Showing the products. It does look very good.
It looks professional.
It does the job, doesn't it? Does the job, and it looks nice. But downstairs is the actual. Looks like the size of a bathroom. No, it's actually quite big. It's not as big as what you think. How big's this? This is like
it's about 12 foot
by 18. 12 foot by 18 foot. What's that?
Yeah.
4 meters by 6, something like that. It's not too bad. You expect it to be huge and bigger. I would love another. To be honest, I've got another room in the front room. We should try and take one of the cameras in there to show you. But that's where we got all our casting equipment. We got 2 more benches. We got the microscopes. We got too much equipment. We also got one of my daughter's drums are in there as well, but they're all cased up. We have lots of space, but I would love a bigger room than this. Perhaps we should get us somewhere else, should we? and how it is at the bench HQ.
Do you see where his harebrained ideas start?
See, I start thinking
see what
now.
He gets like?
I start thinking now, don't I now? So there we go. Everybody, thanks very much for watching today. It's been a blast. And anything else you want to say, Louise?
No, I don't think so. I think you've said it all there, haven't you?
That's about it. Glass of wine tonight, dear?
Oh, yes.
What are we going to have for tea? What should
I
we
don't know
have?
what's there.
Should we just simply have pasta?
I think it's going to have to be
Pasta, pesto, parmesan, perhaps some tuna with it as well, and a nice glass of white. There's a bottle in the fridge already.
Is there already?
There it is.
Oh, well done.
See, I think of everything.
Well done.
It's been a hard day today, isn't it?
It's just been long.
Been a long day. Been sat in the car since 8 o'clock, haven't we? Just going round and round and round about. We haven't gone anywhere, have we? Okay, so everyone, Steve, thank you very much for that. If you can get a hold of David Geller and send me one of his new books, it'd be much appreciated. We do have an old one here that's about 20 years old, the old-fashioned spiral bound we've got. Love to see what the new ones look like, but yeah, we do use it based upon our price book for the shop. That's about it. Click all the links. We're going to alter the date on this. That's about it. Everyone, thank you very much for joining us today. Do you know what? I've been thinking of fantastic ideas. I wanted to have a chat about nothing, didn't I? That was another thing I was chatting to you about. Louise, I fancy an hour chatting about nothing.
We often
my ears are going funny. Totally chatting about nothing in particular, anything goes, doesn't have to be jewellery, just chat about anything for an hour or so. I think we should do that. I don't know when we're going to do this because I have all the ideas. Andrew and Louise car share, talking about everything jewellery related in the car. We'll do that when we go to Birmingham perhaps, or perhaps when we go abroad somewhere. We have a nice, we won't do that, perhaps not, because people won't know when we're going away. Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking about things so much, and Louise, Andrew, you don't have time to do what you're doing now, let alone think of new ideas. I can't stop, Louise.
I know.
I just cannot stop.
I know.
That's about it. Don't forget to like, thumbs up. Give me thumbs up, guys.
Romy.
What's all this thumbs down? We don't like thumbs down. We want thumbs up. And when YouTube enables us to find out who's negging, watch out. Louise, do you want to say anything else?
No.
I don't want to go tonight. I'm enjoying myself tonight.
Do you want another question?
Go. One more question. Go on.
Time is precious. They
precious.
might want to go.
Go on, one more question, just off the top of your head.
Right, off the top of my head.
No. You know what I mean? Just
okay.
Yeah, an actual question.
That's a real question.
Go on, one last question. I don't want to go.
Sandra is asking. Sandra is saying, sorry, I've never worked with gold, and a friend asked me to put a new gold jump ring on her pendant. Since I only have silver solder, I bought a gold solder filled jump ring. Is my butane torch enough?
Yes. Yeah, because
that was a quick one.
Because the the melting point of the gold solder pretty much the same as the silver. Use borax, use your flux that you use for silver in exactly the same way. Make sure the joints come together nice and tight. If there's a gap, the solder won't jump. The solder, it will only flow between two surfaces of metal. So what you need to do is to make sure that joint is touching. Look through it, make sure there's no daylight through it, and make sure the faces come together across the whole face, not just on the edge, but across the whole face like that. Put flux on it, make sure there's flux going in between the joint, warm it up, and the solder will flow and it'll join. No worries at all. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Really do appreciate it.
What's happening with the topics then for the 12-hour? You're just going to work through the list and... Yeah,
we've got 200, 300 people have said what sort of topics they're after, what tools they're after for me to demonstrate, and also there was another section for like any other business, so to speak. We're going to go through those now. Not now this very second, but we're going to go through them. And then motivation school, I used to sit on my bottom and I used to draw wire through a draw plate on the bottom of my shoes because I didn't have a draw bench like the Indian people, Indian goldsmiths do. So we're going to get all the people who have very kindly took the time to suggest topics and tools to us. We're going to collate all that information, find out what's going to be the most popular. Then we're going to go to the tool suppliers from around the world and say, do you want to be part of the 12-hour? These are the topics. What can you do for us? So that's the plan. Because I know one company in America who wants to work with me, wants to know what we're going to be doing, because they're going to be giving us some stuff. Likewise with Durston. Durston's going to be giving us a rolling mill to give away.
Yeah, they're fab, aren't they?
Matthew is fab. He's on the
Aren't they
phone
awesome?
just earlier. Yeah, absolutely. So he will give us a rolling mill to give away. I think we gave away a 130 or a 150C Agile rolling mill last year, which is absolutely brilliant. £1,000 rolling mill, just gave away, and he shipped it. I can't remember. They asked, someone actually got in contact with me, said thank you for that. So everyone's got a chance of winning these prizes, and I know we're going to be giving away plenty more prizes. Not just little prizes like At the Bench t-shirts and aprons that we gave away, but membership to At the Bench, and also big prizes. GRS, we gave away Benchmate system. I think Otto Fry got into the mix last year. They gave away some green line saws and blades. We had Walsh vouchers to give away. Kernocraft gave us vouchers as well, very kindly gave us away. So that is what we're doing. We're getting in contact with as many companies as we can. Hopefully we're going to get more companies this year involved as well, because it really was a very, very good day. Really did enjoy it. It was, wasn't it? Well, we have our snacks. Yes. Right, everyone, thank you all. The 72 people who are still on, no, I made 93, I do apologise, 72 thumbs up. Thank you very much for that. Do appreciate it. Click the links to the chance of winning Durston's Bangle Former die set. Louise, push that middle button again that you got there. Click the link and yeah, enter the competition. Really would appreciate it. So everyone, thank you very much for coming on today. We'll see you all next week on the 19th of October. It'll be a pleasure for you. No, pleasure for me to have your company. Not a pleasure for you to have my company. Pleasure for me to have your company next Monday on our question and answer, 19th of October, 4 p.m. as usual. We will see you then. Anything else you want to say, Louise?
No.
Say bye.
Bye.
Everyone, take care. We will see you. Got a slide in place, Louise?
I'm doing it.
Go. Everyone, take care. We will see you all next week. As I said, you've got somebody, performing arts, singer, who wants to think about making jewellery, please get them to get in contact with us. The links are in the chat on that hand side. Everyone, take care. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.